Shall we start? Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I hope you all would be attentive in this lecture. It's the it's the first online lecture we would be having in this semester. Uh, I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I know we have already started with this Markov chain models in your lab sessions. During lectures, we were on the topic of Bayesian network from module 2. So this topic is from module 3, Markov models, and then further we have the Markov chain models. But since you have already worked upon these Markov chain models, we will complete this topic first. Can you tell me what is Markov chain model, and if you remember, can you tell the properties of Markov chain model? What you mean by Markov? Okay, so as you can see on this slide, there are some these transition diagrams. We have different states like A state and B state. There can be transition from A to B or B to A, or there can be a transition from self loop A to A, B to B, or there can be multiple. Like in this diagram, we have these three states A, B, C, and apart from transition from A to B, B to C, and C to A, there are again self loop for B and C nodes as well. So when we work with these Markov models, so it depends on the states of your parameter. So whichever parameters you have used, these all parameters would be having multiple values. These values are nothing but the states. And we would be working on how many times that state transition is happening. Like if I say yesterday there was a heavily raining, today also it is heavily raining. So heavily raining to heavily raining, it is probability is 1. If I say that today is heavily raining condition, but tomorrow there would be a sunny condition. So this is how your state has been changed from heavily raining to sunny season, or let's say it's a cloudy season. So cloudy day state can be changed. So depending on whatever different states are there, you can model these number of states into number of these various kinds of nodes. Then if you have the data set, you can convert the transitions into probability values. If I say that I want to work upon this last 100 days data, so let's say I have last 100 days temporal data of raining season. So how let's say I want to calculate rainy, cloudy, and sunny. These are the three states for my model if I want to make a model. So how many from these 100 days, how many times rainy to rainy transition is happening, or out of 100 days, how many times sunny to rainy transition is happening. So likewise, you need to calculate the number of pairs and number of counts available in your 100 days data set. Then based on this, calculate the probability for this transition and prepare your Markov chain according to the states and probabilities. So first of all, when we work with these Markov models, there are multiple usage of these Markov models and there are multiple types. So this Markov chain, when we say Markov chain, so there are multiple states and there is a state transition is happening between the different states. That is why it is called as a chain. So this Markov chain used by systems that are autonomous and have fully observable states. Now what you mean by observable states? If I say rainy to rainy transition is happening. So yesterday I have seen that there was heavily raining condition in the Mumbai, and today also I can see there is a heavily rainy condition is happening. But what if I want to work with a parameter of temperature? So unless I take an thermometer and check the temperature, I would not be able to assess what is the temperature today. I may say that the temperature is very hot or the day is very cool. I am feeling cold today, but then I will not be able to write the exact temperature value. Okay, so whenever you are working with this actual value of that parameter, or if you are actually seeing that parameter, it is called as the fully observable state. Sometimes if let's say if you are working with the Bayesian network, so in Bayesian network I may say that for being a rainy season today, there would be certain parameters like temperature, humidity, precipitation, and so on. Okay, so these parameters I have not seen, but I have seen there is a raining is happening today. So raining is a observable parameter which I have seen. Might be if I'm working like a scientist, so I would be observing this: what is the temperature today, what is the precipitation today, what is the wind direction, how fast is this wind is moving, etc. So but for my perspective, I would not be observing these all many parameters. Okay, then in hidden Markov model, these are the systems that are autonomous where the state is partially observable. So if I say that, again, it's a partially observable state. So when I say partially observable, that means I have not seen this state at my place, but maybe let's say I'm living in Panvel and I'm calling to a friend who is living in Chunabhatti, and I'm asking that whether the raining is happening there or not. So that person is going to see whether there is a raining happening or not, and he would be telling me on call. Okay, so that is also called as a partially observable state, which I have not seen directly. Or there can be a fully hidden state which I am unaware about it. So these are these states. Whenever we are working with this Markov model, it is called as the hidden Markov models. Then we have Markov decision process. So it is controlled by it is a controlled system with fully observable states. It's like you are doing your normal programs. You have developed a program which is a rule based program कि अगर condition 1 condition 2 happens, then your result should be condition 3. If condition 1 condition 3 happens, your result would be something else. So there would be some kind of rules or protocols has been given. These are these Markov decision process, and which would be based upon fully observed states. Then similarly, there is another condition that is partially observable Markov decision process. So again, it would be in a controlled system only, but there would be some states which would be observable and some would be hidden or partially observables. So this chart is again the mentioning of the same four types of models. Is it clear to you difference between these four states, four types of Markov models? Now next is this Markov chain. So when I say again Markov chain, it is the usage in the mathematics. Every time whenever you work in a probability, you work in machine learning, statistics, everywhere there would be this Markov chain. And this can be utilized in this field of economics, game theory, communication theory, genetics, and finance. Now, can you tell me examples from these all fields? If I say economics, so you might be heard about GDP growth of in the economic sector. Daily आपके every time in a newspaper there is a news about this economics, how this country's economics is changing. Maybe पहले कम था, अभी ज़्यादा हुआ तो बाद में कम होगा. So every time there would be some moving into this economic condition. So that is again nothing but a state of your economy of the country, and that is again checked with the help of this Markov chain. Similarly, in game theory, if I say if I am playing let's say I'm playing PUBG. So in PUBG, I would be at one place at a time. At t plus one, that is suppose that this is my t0 time. At t plus one, the t1 time, I would be moving around and I might be taking my gun ahead or I might be shooting down. So there would be multiple conditions. So every time in game 3, there would be one by step moving of the object. Again, that is modeled with the help of Markov chain. Then communication theory. If I say that I'm working on this internet right now, suppose we are working with this internet through this Google Meet, we are working on this lecture. So data has been transmitted from my machine to your machine, right? So that data transmission is also happening through number of different packets. So at T1, some number of packets has been sent. At time T2, some different number of packets has been sent. So every time there would be some difference into this time, every time communication whichever is happening. That is again modeled with the help of communication theory in computer networks. Then in genetics, you might have heard about there is A, G, T, and C. 4 genes are there, right? So these, depending on what is the combination of genes into your RNA, DNA, you would be having some kind of diseases or some kind of characteristics, maybe behavioral or maybe some genetical characteristics. So again, that is the example of this Markov chain where it can be used. And again, the last one is the finance. So in finance, if you are aware that in a share market, so let's say I have taken share of Saman Capitals or maybe Tata Technologies. So today might be the share cost is down, tomorrow might be it has been upgraded, day after tomorrow again it has been increased, and after 2 3 days it has been down. So every time we would be able to model this price of the share with the help of these Markov chain models. You might in your exams there would be a question, write the application areas of Markov chain, so you will need to explain any of these in detail. Okay, you can refer to this in online or in a textbook whichever I have given. So here we would be using this statistical approach with the help of this Bayesian statistics, and we would be working with the information theoretical context, ITC. So in real world problem, these are the different these are the different systems where it can also be used. So one is this cruise control system in motor vehicles. So again, automatic, whenever we are working in a autopilot mode, so again it is nothing but after every second or every microsecond there is a state change is happening to this autopilot mode of your system. Maybe it's a aircraft, maybe it's a car or any vehicle. So again, it is working with the help of this, what is changing, how many parameters I had, what was the parameters value at t0, what is the parameter value at t1 and t2 and further ahead. Similarly, queues or lines of customers arriving at airport. Now let's say we are working on airport systems, and today is Tuesday, and there is no festival for today. So let's say that there is less traffic into the airports. But whenever Saturday Sunday comes, or whenever there is a long weekend, or whenever there are some country specific events, or maybe country specific festivals, so that time the rush of the people at the airport would be increasing. So again, that can be modeled with the help of these queues and lines, again with the help of Markov chain. What is the time when people are increasing at the airport? Or similarly, at the we had discussed in the class that if I want to work in the supermarket, so at what time people are coming to supermarket more, or what kind of people, what kind of items people are buying at the same time? What is the combination of items? So that can be again modeled with the help of this Markov chain. And again, exchange rate of currencies. So currencies rate are changing every day. So how this currency rate has been changed, that can be modeled with the help of Markov chains. Then another famous example is about this page rank algorithm. I hope you might have heard about this page ranking. So when we say that, when initially when internet has launched, so there were multiple websites. There was no search engine. So if you know the exact URL of the website, you would be able to write down your URL into the browser, and you will be going to that particular website. But then later on, Google had started its own search engine, Google search engine, and where I would be typing anything, and according to that, whatever content I have typed, there would be some all the websites which were listed. There used to be a dictionary of websites, like a list of all websites which are there into all over world. Because initially there were very few websites, so we could have list down it to the servers. And then based on that websites, Google used to have the search engine, it has been provided the search engine, but this search engine has been done with the help of this page ranking algorithm. So this page ranking algorithm, what it does, if I have came to the google.com website, so from google.com I may have different hundreds of links available onto that page. Maybe from Google's home page I would be going to Gmail, I may go to Drive, I may go to Google One, I may go to search option bar, I may go to a calendar or Google Meet, or there are so many different kinds of links. Okay, so from which link you have transferred to different website link, so that data has been stored. And this is nothing but a state transition. You were at the state 1, maybe this one is for the google.com, and state 2 might be a Gmail's website, then state 3 might be a login page, state 4 might be particular your emails list. Okay, so there can be different websites, and how you are transferring from one web link to another web link, that data would be processed with the help of this page rank algorithm. And this page rank algorithm is a very famous algorithm, and that is again based upon these Markov chain models. I hope these examples are clear to you. These are very broad examples. In your chapters, when we will work in chapter 6, that is module 6, so that time we would be working on the application areas of Markov chain. So that time you would be able to see this, how exactly it is happening into the real world. Is it clear to all of you as of now? Okay, thank you, Surbi. So now when we say Markov chain, you have implemented this Markov chain into your practical, and that time we have discussed there are some Markov properties. So this Markov chain is a random process with Markov property, and this means that evolution of Markov process in the future depends only on the present state and does not depend on the past history. What does it mean? If you are working with a Bayesian network, you would need entire historical data to model the future predictions. But in Markov chain, you would need the initial probability value. After that, you would be need current data. Now, let's say if I want to find out the whether tomorrow there would be raining or not, I would need today's data. Whether what is the parameter value of today, whether it is raining today, and accordingly I would be assessing whether it would be sunny tomorrow or cloudy tomorrow or the rainy season tomorrow. So always it would be dependent on T0 state to work for the T plus 1 state. It will not need T minus 1, T minus 1, T minus 2, etc. Then this Markov process does not remember. This is a very important property of Markov chain. So when we say we are predicting for tomorrow, we would need information for today. We would not need information from my yesterday. So that is why it doesn't remember anything, this kind of models. Unlike Bayesian network, if you remember the basic probability value, probability expression for Bayesian network, it is probability of current parameter multiplied by probability of parent parameter multiplied by probability of its parent and grandparent and so on. So all parameters values you will need to consider. But here you will need to consider only the present value. And that is why it doesn't have any memory, and hence the Markov process is called as the memoryless property. So this is very important property of Markov chain. Then next, random process, or often called as stochastic property, is mathematical object defined as a collection of random variables. Again, depending on if you have work upon your data set, whichever number of columns you have, that are the number of your parameters, and accordingly you can model these parameters as a random variable to your Markov chain. And according to their states, you may write their state change graph. Then this Markov chain has either discrete state space, that is set of possible values of random variable, or discrete index state, often representing the time. Discrete state space means if I say that rainy, cloudy, sunny, these are the three state of today's parameter of weather. Weather is my parameter. Weather has three state: rainy, sunny, and cloudy. Okay, these are the discrete values. But then if I want to check with suppose I'm working on a game theory, and in game theory there is no particular state which I can name like a discrete value. So then I would be writing as T0, T1, T2, T3 according to at what time whatever states specific values has been changed. Accordingly, I can write it into the discrete index state. So this is the basic probability formula which you all know. That is for probability of x of t plus 1 equal to s. Let us say I am saying that tomorrow it would be sunny. So this is the parameter, that is x, that is weather, and t plus 1, that means tomorrow, equal to s. S is some kind of state. Let's say I am saying that tomorrow's state is sunny. So this is the distribution of x of t plus 1, which is dependent on x of t, that is today. X parameters today's value and equal to st, means at today's value what is the parameter state. Let's say for today it is rainy, so this it would be x of I, that means x of that let's say it is weather parameter, so weather of 19 August equal to rainy, and here we need to calculate weather of 20 August equal to sunny. So that kind of values you will need to put here and calculate. So it is dependent on x of t, and all the probable values of this xt minus 1 to xt minus 2, x1 and x0, these all will not be needed into Markov chain. Is it clear to everyone? This is very important property of Markov models. Sometimes there would be a theoretical question that explain properties of Markov model, and there would be further numerical would be asked. Sometimes there would be only numericals. But if a theoretical question comes, you need to write down these all explanations. Okay, now when we say we want to work on the model, so this model always would be with the help of this probabilistic automation. Why would we say automation? Depending on your data, we would be working upon the probability calculation from state changes, and accordingly we are writing your program. So this, we are developing this model and we are firing some queries onto your model. So automatically your model would be giving us the responses. That is why it is called as a probabilistic automation. The changes of state of the system are called these transitions, and probabilities associated with various state changes are called as transition probabilities. And the probability automation includes the probability of given transition into transition function, turning it into the transition matrix. So in your practicals also you have taken some 3 to 4 states, and there were some transitions from this state, one state to another state, and this, there was a transition matrix. And very important property again for Markov network is this information would be represented with the help of this transition matrix, and from time n to time n plus 1, and every state in the state space is included as once as a row and again as a column. So all the number of rows titles and your column titles are same, and there would be you will need to write these probability transition values, and each cell in the matrix tells you the probability of transitioning from its row state to the column state. And always there would be n by n matrix. There would never be n by m, n by p, or any other different dimension. There would be always this n square matrix. So now let's take this example. So there is one lady named as Anita, and when the Anita is sad, which is not usual. Usually she is very happy, but when she is sad, she had three options to do. One is she would be either going for a running, she would be going down to have the ice cream, and she would be having a sleep. That is, she would be having this nap. So these are the three different states whenever she would be sad. So this is the data given to you, that from historical data, if she spent sleeping a sad day away, the next day it is 60% likely that she will go for a run. That means today she is sad, so tomorrow she would be going to run, and that probability of this transition would be 60%, that is 0.6. And similarly, 20% she would stay in bed. So if she is sad today, she might be staying into the bed for 20%, that is 0.2 probability next day, and 20% chance she will be pick out an ice cream. So similarly, based upon this given value, you will need to create your transition matrix. So this was when she had sleeping that day. Then when she is sad and goes for a run, from this running state, now you need to model the probabilities. So from running, 60% chance she would be going for run the next day. So run to run probability is 0.6. Then 30% she gorges an ice cream, that is for running to ice cream, that is 0.3. And only 10% chance she would spend sleeping the next day. So running, this was the initial state was running, and running to sleeping, that is 0.1 probability. So now we had worked with these two states now. First was this sleeping, from sleeping different all the three possible combination. Second was this from running, all the three possible combinations, and now the remaining is the uh, having this ice cream. So from suppose let's say she had ice cream today. So what she will be doing tomorrow? So 10% chance that she would be having ice cream, that is 0.1, ice cream to ice cream 0.1. Then 70% chance that she would go for run, that is ice cream to running 0.7, and 20% chance that she spends sleeping in the next day. That means ice cream to sleeping, that is 0.2. Now can you draw this diagram for this? Can you draw the state transition diagram as well as state transition matrix? So I know we are working with this online lecture. I don't know how many of you are actually solving. So I'll go ahead. This is the diagram which would be done with the help of this all historical data of Anita's behavior. And based on this, you will need to work upon the transition matrix. Are you solving this with me? Or shall I go ahead? Say something. You are solving, or shall I go ahead? Unmute your mic and say something. So there is a numerical based on this. So here we had these three states: sleeping, running, and ice cream. That is 3 by 3 matrix. And always remember the property that arrows exiting a state always sums up to the exactly one. So if you see this diagram, if I say from ice cream, whatever the exiting arrows are there, that is this one. Ice cream to sleep, that is point 0.2. Ice cream to running, that is 0.7, and ice cream to ice cream, 0.1. So this all summation should be 1. So here it is 0.2 plus 0.7, that is 0.9, and here it is 0.1, that is 1. So for ice cream, the state is very clear. Now check for the sleep. So sleep to sleep is 0.2, sleep to ice cream 0.2, that is 0.2 plus 0.2, 0.4, and sleeping to running, that is 0.6. So again 0.4 plus 0.6, 1. So your sleeping state is again correct. And then for running state, running to running is 0.6, running to sleeping 0.1, that is 0.1 plus 0.6 is 0.7, and running to ice cream, that is 0.3. So 0.7 plus 0.3, 1. So again this running state is correct. Now based on this, you can draw this state transition diagram. So this is the state transition diagram. So always remember that if you are writing this state transition matrix, this would be the current state, this would be the next state. Sometimes just to make students confused, in some numericals it is this probability matrix has been given as a transverse of it. So here it would be next state, here it would be current state. Okay, so always remember, if there is a transpose of this matrix has been given, you need to convert it into the current state and then followed by this next state, so that you would be getting these values correctly for your numerical. Otherwise there would be chances of miscalculation. So this is the same transition diagram. Based on your transition diagram, the transition matrix has been given. Now the question is, starting from the state sleep, what is the probability that Anita would be running, that is state run, at the end of SAD 2-day duration? Can you calculate this now? So your first day was at the sleeping. The end day would be this running, and the end of the SAD 2-day duration. So first moving from the state sleeping to state run, and Anita must either stay on state sleep on the first move or day, then move to state run. The next day move is 0.2 and 0.6. 0.2 multiplied by 0.6. If you see the transition diagram, so this is from sleeping to running. Then move to state, run the first day, and then stay there on the second. So there can be multiple possibilities from sleeping to running. So there is one intermittent state, that is sleeping to sleeping and then run, sleep to run and then run, sleep to ice cream and then run. So there can be multiple possible combinations, and for each combination you will need to calculate these probability values. So this is for run the first day and second day be there on this running state. Then here it is ice cream on the first move and then to this running. So if you see this this value, so ice cream to running, this is 0.7, and initially it was in a sleeping, so sleeping to ice cream it is 0.2. So like this it has been mentioned, sleeping to ice cream 0.2 and ice cream to running 0.7. So this way we need to go on calculating all the possible values of these states. So here we had the 3 states. There were suppose these 3 possible ways to achieve this sleeping state to running state with one step in between. So these are the 3 possible combinations, and this is the total value of this probability for this sleeping to running condition. So it was a 0.62. So it is 62% chance that Anita will move to the state run after 2 days being sad, and she started out in a state as sleeping. So this is the implementation. This you have already worked in your practicals, so I'll not go through it. Okay. Now here comes the very important properties of Markov chain models. There would be a theoretical question based on this as well. So when we say this Markov property, as first Markov property is what? Your future state would be dependent on the current state and not on the previous day state. Second property, in your state transition diagram, the summation of all rows would be 1. And here, these are the important properties. This is the reducibility. So when we are creating any Markov chain models, so we need to check whether this Markov chain is reducible or irreducible. So Markov chain is called as irreducible if it is possible to get to any state from any state. Now let's say if you are working on this Anita's diagram. So here, from sleeping, I can go to ice cream, I can go to run, from run to run, I can again come back, I can again come back to ice cream, I can again go to sleep. From any state to any state, I would be able to transform because there are these arrows as we mentioned. But what if these two arrows are not listed? So then from sleeping, I would go to run, again run to sleep, I can go. But then if I want to go to ice cream to sleep, there is no possible combination. Let us say these are not available into your diagram. So you will need to go to a different path. Now what if again here in ice cream, there is no outgoing link. So in that case, once we come to this ice cream state, we would not be able to go back to this running state or the sleeping state. So that can be possible. So depending on how many arrows are available into your given diagram, there is a condition of this reducibility and irreducibility. So this irreducible Markov network means you can visit any node at any time. You can go to with the help of any path and you would be reaching to that particular destination. So this it is possible to get to any state from any state. This is irreducible Markov network. But what if sometimes you are going to one state and there is no option to come back? That is called as the reducible Markov network. So there, your Markov network will be reduced. That means it would be shrinked. Then there is a periodicity. So in periodicity, it's a concept like suppose in the Anita's example, we have the self loop between the ice cream. If you can see here, see this diagram. So here I can say that from sleep, if I want to change my transition from sleep to sleep, so I can go to sleep to sleep. I can go sleep to ice cream to ice cream, ice cream to run, and run to sleep. There can be multiple possible way. I can go from sleep to run to sleep. So how many steps I would be requiring to reach back to my own previous state? So that gives the idea about the periodicity. So there, if sometimes there is only one option to come back to your initial state, that means your period is one. That means every time within one step you would be coming to your previous state. So that is the called as the aperiodic Markov chain. But if there are more than k, this k is nothing but number of steps. So if there are more than one number of steps and you would be able to come back to your own state, it is called as a periodic Markov chain. Then the third property is transient and recurrence. Recurrence, as you know, that every time you would be coming to the same node again and again. That is recurrent. If you have learned about recurrent neural network, again there are multiple states possible and recurrently that states has been changed into your model. Here, when we say a transient state, that means if you are visiting a particular node, but there is no possible outgoing node available. So in that case, you would be staying into that node only. You would not be able to come back of that state. That is the called as the transient state in the Markov network. Then ergodicity, that means this state I is said to be ergodic if it is aperiodic. Aperiodic means you would be coming to that node in exactly one number of steps and it is a positive recurrent network. That means there would be a self loop. आप एक ही loop से बार बार वहीं पे घूम रहे हैं. That is called as the ergodicity of this Markov chain. And that is why it is called as the irreducible Markov network. Irreducible means you would be achieving, you would be connecting to all of these nodes into again and again into your network. If you are not able to go to the again that network node, then it is reducible Markov network. But when you say ergodicity, it is aperiodic, it is positive recurrent, and it is irreducible. These three property comes with this ergodicity of the network. Then the last one is this absorbing state. So in absorbing state means there can be reducible network. Always this it can be a reducible network because if you are reaching to that particular node, you would not be able to come back. So this node is called as the transient node, and this node is also called as the absorbing state of your node. So if you are going there, you would not be able to leave. So it is impossible to leave this site state once you have reached. So let's check with this diagram. So here is this diagram. From 1 to 1, I have the option. So if I am on this state 1, I may go to 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to 1. I may do this recurring state change. So in that case, I may say that this node 1 is a recurrent node. Similarly, if I go to node 2, again node 2 I have a self loop. So I can go to 2 to 2, I can go to 2 to 3 and 3 to 2, again I can come back. So 2 is also a recurrent node. If I go to 3, so 3 to 3 there is a self loop. 3 to 2 I can move, 2 to 3 again I can come back. Again we can say that 3 is a recurrent node. However, if I go, however, I mean suppose node 1, node 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to 1 I have shifted many a times, but at certain amount of time from 1 to 2 I have shifted. So once I have left this node 1, I would not be able to come back to node 1. There is no incoming link to this node 1. So this node is called as the transient node. And these two nodes are called as the recurrent nodes. So here, whenever there is in your Markov network, when there is a transient node, your network is a reducible Markov network. That means all nodes are all moving from all nodes. It's not possible into your network. Now check with the second diagram. Here there are two different nodes. They are not connected to each other, but they are the recurrent nodes. So again, this is also an example of reducible Markov network. This is a Markov network. However, individual nodes are also recurrent network, but both of these nodes are not connected to each other, and that is why it is reducible Markov network. And this network is called as the irreducible network with recurrent nodes. This is reducible node, and this node 1 is a transient node, or we can say absorbing node, absorbing state of your Markov network. Is this clear to all? The terminologies associated with Markov properties? Okay, thanks Vedika. Surbi. Okay, now check with this diagram. Okay, let me change this problem PPT. Okay, so now here, this each state in Markov chain has a period. So when we say your Markov chain is a periodic or aperiodic, so what we have said that when we are living one step, let's say I want to reach from 1 to 2. So for reaching from 1 to 2, in how many steps I can reach? So sometimes there would be a fixed number of intervals through which I can reach from node 1 to node 2. But sometimes there would be n number of paths are available. Sometimes I can reach from 1 to 2 in 2 steps. Sometimes I may reach in 5 number of steps. Sometimes in the 7 number of steps. Okay. So this number of steps has been changed. So that is called as the periodic Markov chain models. And again, if I want to calculate what is the period of that Markov chain, so that period is nothing but a common divisor of available paths. So here, if I say, imagine the first that we start in a state 1, that is in here, and we know that certainty that in the next step, if we go to state 2, so from 1 to 2, I can go to 1, 2 to 3, and 3 to 1. Now let us say I want to start at 1 and come back to 1 again. So from 1 to 2, there is one step, 2 to 3, one step, and 3 to 1, that is again one step. So there are total 3 number of steps which are required from coming back, starting from 1 and coming back to 1. You can do it this multiple times into your network. So this can be done with the help of 3 number of states, or exactly after 6 number of steps, you will be reaching to your node 1, or again at 9 number of states, you would be reaching again back to 1. Okay. So if I say that 3, 6, 9, so there is a constant increment is given into the number of steps. So here is this greatest common denominator of this path length is 3. So state 1 and the other 2 states have period of 3. So 3 is the common divisor for all of these numbers whichever I mentioned. Okay. So this is called as the periodic network, periodic Markov chain with period 3. Is it clear to you? We need to make sure that how many paths are available, how many states are available, and out of that, whichever is the maximum denominator which we can apply. Now, similarly, suppose now here this one additional recurrent loop has been added. Okay. Now, if we are in this step 1 and we want to again come back to 1, so how many number of steps would be there? So there would be multiple combinations again. So I can go from 1 to 1 in exactly one step because I have a self loop. I can turn this self loop into 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, as long as whatever I want. Okay. Or I can go to 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 1, 1 to 1. There can be again number of steps has been changed. So here we can see that maximum number of steps for the denominator would be 1. If I'm in the denominator, in the numerator, if I say 1 to 1, that is 1 step. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 1, 3 steps. So 1 comma 3 comma multiple, whatever you want to write. So divide by total, there would be exactly one number of steps for reaching from 1 to 1. So here this is a periodic with period 1. Now let's say, what about state 2? If we start at state 2, we know that we will be going to state 3, then to state 1. However, then there we could stay in state 1. If I want to start from 2 and come back to again 2. So how many possible combinations are available? There is no self loop for 2, so there is no problem of this exactly one step. Okay, I would always require to go from 2 to 3, 3 to 1, and again 1 to 2. That means exactly 3 number of steps. Next option, 2 to 3, 3 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to 2. So 4 steps. Again next option, 2 to 3, 3 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1 to 1, and then 1 to 2. There can be number of 4 options, 5 options, 6 options. As long as you are using this recurrent one again and again, your number of steps would be increasing in each of these possible state combinations. So again here, what is the maximum number of denominator steps which you can use? That is this state 3. That means 2 to 3, 3 to 1, 1 to 2. That is the 3 numbers are minimally required. And every time whenever you would be using this 1 to 1 recurrent loop, there would be addition of that many numbers. So minimum number would be this 3 number of steps. So again, this is a periodic Markov chain with step 2, with step equal to 3 for starting state as 2. Is this clear to you? Okay. So this is this periodic and aperiodic which we have already discussed. Now this is the stationary distributions. So when we say that there are these two states, let's for a fair coin, we have the heads and tails are the two possible options. So head to head, there can be probability of 0.5, and head to tails there would be probability of 0.5. That everyone knows. Again, from tail to head there would be probability of 0.5, and tails to tails there would be probability of 0.5. So during your first practical, we had worked with the frequentist approach of coin flipping experiment. What you have learned in that frequentist approach, that let's say out of 10 times if I am flipping the coin, so out of 10 times, I might get 6 times heads and 4 times tails. Or I might get 8 times head, 2 times tails. Okay. So that means 0.8 and 0.2 probability for heads and tails. But what if I am doing this experiment for multiple frequency? Let's say I'm working it for 10,000 number of times. So my probability for these heads and tails would reach around 0.5. If you remember what you have done in your experiment, so we had calculated the number of the values from the number of simulation. That is 1 simulation, 100 simulation, 1000 simulation, 1 lakh simulation, and what was the graph for this 0.5 graph for the heads and tails, and it was related to almost 0.5, right? So when we say that after multiple frequency, if we are reaching to particular probability value which are remaining stationary, which are not moving ahead. Initially, let's say I had 0.6 probability from heads and tails. Heads ka 0.6 tha and tails ka 0.4 tha. After that, it might go to 0.5, 0.55. There is some 0.45. There can be again 0.509. There would be 0.4999, something like this. So always the probability of heads and tails would come near to the 0.5 value. And at one certain point, it would be remaining to this 0.5 values. So this is the time when your probability value will not change ahead. That is called as the stationary distribution of your probability states. So this is the very famous example of the stationary distributions. I hope this is clear to you. If you remember during your fourth practical of the Markov chain experiment, what we had done, there was an example of a restaurant which was serving pizza, burger and hot dog. Out of 3 items, only 1 item would be served per day basis, right? So that time you had been given a pi vector, that is pi with the 3 values of probability values. So these three values are nothing but the stationary values, or we can say starting values. And after starting, you might be able to work on the next day values, prediction of the next day, what would be served. Then after 3 days, what would be served, like this. So this is nothing but, again, there would be a stationary distribution of your row vector for given states. Now here is the interesting example. This might be a confusing if you are just looking at this. You need to write down into your notebooks. So here, this is the first order Markov model. Assume that yesterday and today are both foggy day. So here is the diagram. We have sunny day, foggy day, and rainy day. There are these transition probabilities mentioned on these arrows from each transitions. And what we need to calculate, find the probability of sunny day after tomorrow. What we have given, yesterday and today was a foggy day. And based on this yesterday and today's combination, based on today, tomorrow, what would be there? I do not know. This is yesterday and today. Tomorrow, I do not know. But day after tomorrow, I need the value of sunny. So for tomorrow, since it is hidden value, tomorrow I do not know. So tomorrow it can be sunny, tomorrow it can be foggy, it can be rainy. Today is my foggy condition. So foggy to sunny is one combination, foggy to foggy second combination, and foggy to rainy, that is third combination. That three combinations you will need to analyze, and then from each of these three combinations you need to go to the next state as this sunny, because it's a day after tomorrow. Have you got it? How you will need to do calculations? Can you give me the possible values for this? Possible path change, what I can consider here? Anybody else? Okay, so we'll see the solution for this. First of all, you will need to prepare the transition matrix. So this is the transition matrix. Sunny to sunny, this is 0.8. Sunny to foggy, this is 0.15. Then sunny to rainy, 0.05, this one. Now do this addition, 0.8 plus 0.15, that is 0.95, plus 0.05, that is 1. Then foggy condition. So foggy to foggy, 0.5, this one. Then foggy to rainy, 0.3. Foggy to rainy, this is 0.3. Then foggy to sunny, this is 0.2. So this is 0.2. 0.2 plus 0.5, 0.7. 0.7 plus 0.3, 1. Then rainy condition, rainy to rainy, that is 0.6. This is 0.6. Rainy to sunny, 0.2. And rainy to foggy, that is 0.2. So again, this is summing up to be 1. So if all of these records are summing up to 1, then your transition matrix is correct. Now go on solving this numerical. What we need is day after tomorrow, we need a sunny day. So today's condition, what we need in your given example, if you remember, yesterday and today was foggy. But as it's a Markov chain, we do not need yesterday. We need only today. What is the today and what would be tomorrow and what would be day after tomorrow? Okay. So we would be considering only today's value, which is foggy, given to us. So here we can see that today, that if I see probability of tomorrow, tomorrow is sunny and today is foggy. So foggy to sunny multiplied by probability of day after tomorrow, I need sunny, and tomorrow it should be sunny. So there are these three combinations. You look at this first first terms into all of the three terms. That is day today we have considered here foggy, because today it is given into your numerical. Then from foggy, I may change to all of these possible conditions tomorrow. So these are the D term. This is for tomorrow. Foggy to sunny, foggy to foggy, and foggy to rainy. These three combinations. Now these are your tomorrow's condition. From tomorrow's condition, you need to go to the day after tomorrow. So from sunny, I need to go to day after tomorrow as sunny. So this is sunny to sunny. This is foggy. So from foggy to sunny, I need to go. And this is rainy. From rainy, I need to go to rainy to sunny. That is, here if you can see in the second terms of these expressions, this is probability of day after tomorrow. And what is my requirement in the given example? That day after tomorrow should be sunny. So all of these values are sunny. But these prior probabilities are sunny, foggy, and rainy. Is this expression clear to you, everyone? Understanding of this is very important. Okay, thanks Surbi, Morvika, Mahi. Okay, Atharva. Okay, so see why we have used this one, because we were not been given what would be condition tomorrow. So for tomorrow, it's a unknown state, so we had to consider all of the possible number of states. Now since you have developed this expression, you just need to keep on put on this value according to your state transition diagram and solve the numerical. So this was the expression. Now for check this, today is foggy and foggy to sunny I want to check. So foggy to sunny, this is 0.2, which is mentioned here. Then it is sunny to sunny. So sunny to sunny, this is 0.8. So this is 0.8. So this is for your first term. Now second term, foggy to foggy. So foggy to foggy is 0.5, which is mentioned here. Then foggy to sunny. So foggy to sunny, this is 0.2. It's mentioned here. Then for third term, foggy to rainy. So foggy to rainy, this is 0.5. Sorry. And here rainy to sunny, that is 0.2. Are these values correct? Please check again, huh? These values might be wrong. If you solve it on your own, you will understand whether this is correct or not. Okay. So this is the final example, final answer of the given question. So similar way, there would be multiple numericals, and sometimes a straightforward numerical would be asked that tomorrow, yesterday it was rainy, today it was sunny. What would be happening tomorrow, or what is the probability for tomorrow it is sunny? So this would be a very simple calculation. But in your given this example, the state was not mentioned, so you have to consider all of the state, and your calculation become increases. Okay. Now, the same Markov chain can be used for predicting the stock market trends. So when we deal with the stock markets, we will consider the stock market, and we will stop for this today's lecture. So when we deal with the stock market, as we know that this stock market is very dynamic market. Sometimes there is very up and down in a single day of the stock market. Sometimes there would be a stable growth into particular price of the shares, and there would be sometimes stable increase and steep decrease as well. So there can be any possible state change can happen. So these transitions would be random transitions, and these transitions would be named as these state space combinations of your Markov chain. So if I work on this market, so this example, we are having these three possible state. One is the bull market. So this is the bull market, which is called as the optimism. That is, market is rising, and here it can be 20% rise after 20% falls. And there is a bear market. That bear market is called as the pessimism market. That means your market is continuously falling, and there would be 20% fall from your recent high. And there is a third state, that is a stagnant market. So there is no particular increment or decrement into your market. That is a stagnant state is there. So here, in fair markets, it is expected that the market information is distributed equally among all the actors. What you mean by these actors? There can be the agents which sometimes buy extra shares, and automatically people will understand, oh, this price is very increasing, so people will tend to buy that, and automatically share price increases. So these are these actors. So let's say initially we are working on a fair market where all the possible outcomes would have the equal probability. That means the information, whichever of the market information is there, that would be equally distributed among all the actors, and that prices fluctuate randomly. And this means that every actor has equal access to the information, such that no actor has an upper hand due to inside information. If you have seen this Netflix, what was that, Harshad Mehta scam, if you have seen that serial, you might be aware how this market, how he used to manipulate the market, and how he used to gain from the stock markets. Okay, so if anybody has the inside market information, he would be able to gain more into the markets. And through a technical analysis of historical data, certain patterns can be found as well as their estimated probabilities. So if you see that whenever some people are working on the finances, so they would be always looking at the what is the chart. कि एक particular अगर मुझे share लेना है, so what was the value of that particular share one year before, 3 months before, 1 month before, what was yesterday, what is today, and what is expected tomorrow. So based on that particular trend, I would be deciding that whether I should purchase that particular share or not. So here is one example is given. After a week characterized by bull market trend. What is bull market? It is increasing market. There is a 90% chance that another bullish week will follow. So bull to bull state transition is 0.9. Then additionally, there is a 7.5% chance that the bull week instead will be followed by a bearish one. So bull to bearish market would be 7.5%, that is 0.75 probability. Then not for 0.075. And then 2.5% chance that it would be a stagnant one. So again, from your bull market to a stagnant one, it would be 2.5. And similarly, after bearish week, that means from bearish market, there is 80% chance that upcoming week also be bearish. So bearish to bearish would be 0.8 probability, and so on, represented into the state transition diagram below. So this is the state transition diagram. We have this bull market, bull to bull 0.9, bull to bear market 0.75, and bear market to bear market 0.8, bear market to stagnant market. So these all probabilities has been mentioned. You need to cross check whether these probability values are correct or not. First of all, the basic probability of basic property of Markov chain is what? Your all outgoing arrows should be summing up to 1. Check with the example. If I consider this bull market, so from bull market to bull market it is 0.9, and here this is 0.75. So 0.75 plus 0.9, how much it is? Is it correct or wrong? Correct or wrong? Tell me.
Correct.
You need to do the addition of all outgoing arrows for the bull market. So it is 0.9, 0.75 and 0.025. So if you see this value is, this all summation is not coming to 1. Why? Because this is mentioned as 0.75. However, if you see this example, it was 7.5. It is not 75%. Okay. So it is because of the decimal point. So this value should be 0.075. If it is 0.075, this is 0.025. So it would be coming up to 0.1, and this 0.1 plus 0.9 would be total 1. Okay. So if you are drawing this diagram, make sure that you would be writing this 0.075. Is it clear? Similarly, check for bear market. So it is 0.8, 0.8 to 0.05, and here it is 0.015. So it is correct. 0.15 plus 0.05 is 0.2, 0.2 plus 0.8 is 1. Check for the stagnant market. This is 0.5, this is 0.25, and this is 0.25. Again, this is correct. So only one change you need to do here is 0.075. Then this is the state transition diagram, that is from state and to state. Same probabilities has been mentioned here. See, here it is mentioned as 0.075 correctly. And this is represented with the help of your transition matrix. Now what we need to do is, in this example, we will be choose to set the current week as bearish, resulting to the vector. So initially, you know that there is a pi 0, that is starting vector of your given example. So let's say here this pi 0 is mentioned as C, that is for current day. And if you see that bull, bear and stagnant, these are the 3 steps which are mentioned. Out of that, in the same sequence, if I say that this is the bearish market, so bearish means this is the center value. So this, instead of this value, we would be considering this as 1, because this is the observed parameter, and others would be the 0. And then given the state of the current week, we can then calculate the possibilities of bull, bear or stagnant week for any number of n weeks into the future. So as we know that if I need to calculate for day after tomorrow, what would be the probability of bearish market? Or after 3 days, let's say after 5 days, what would be the probability of stagnant market? So that can be calculated with the help of the starting vector and your this transition matrix. So if you do remember, we need to multiply pi 0 into this transition matrix. So here it would be C multiplied by your transition matrix. So this is 1 week from now. This current value multiplied by M1. So this is your initial value. This is your given transition matrix, and this is the final answer which is given. So this would be your bull market, bearish market, and stagnant market. These are the probabilities after 1 week. Then let's say for 5 weeks from now. So this is for 5 weeks. We need to multiply this m into raised to 5. Why we are working here? Although it's in terms of week, we are raising this power to only 5. Why? Because every week we are observing the situations and we have calculated these probability values which are mentioned. Okay. But in your another example, let's say if you are working on a pizza burger restaurant, so that time if I want to work with the 1 week, that means 7 days. So here it would be power would be the 7. Okay, depending on your given example, you will need to change it. So here we would be observing this state per week basis. So that is why it is for 5 weeks, it is mentioned as raised to 5. If I want to work for 52 weeks, it would be this 010 multiplied by this transition matrix raised to 52. And we would be getting some kind of these row vectors. So this would be your row 1 after 1 week. This would be row 5, or we can say pi 5, or this would be pi 52. And depending on this, I can tell that this is the probability of bull market after 52 weeks from now would be 0.63%. Similarly, this is for the 99 weeks. 99 weeks later, this would be the probability values. And there is a one state will come where after multiplying so many number of times, these values will not change. Just if we see here from 1 week to 5 week to 52 weeks to 99 weeks, there is a stagnant, there was always a change. But from these two states, if you can find 52 weeks may 0.63, 0.31 and 0.05 are the values. Similarly, for 99 weeks as well, we have the same values 0.63, 0.31 and 0.05. So when these values are not changing, we are saying that this is a stationary probability value or stationary probability vector. So these are the steady states which we have received. Okay. Is it clear to you, everyone? Okay. So now you have one homework based upon your Markov network. This in the homework, there is this airport queuing system. So in airport queuing system, you might be aware that for each every airport there is an ATS system. That is transmission control is there for the upcoming flights and for the departing flights. Okay, so there is a condition that a daily flight from London to Rome has a scheduled departure time of 12 a.m. at night and standard flight time of 2 hours. So if the flight would start at 12 a.m., it would reach to 2 a.m. at this Rome. Okay, but because of certain conditions, the flight got delayed. So maybe the certain conditions would be because your airport is not free, because there is a lot of air traffic, or because there is a bad weather conditions, or because sometimes there is no green signal from the ATS of the particular London airport or Rome airport. So there can be multiple possible conditions because of which your flight may get delayed, or sometimes it might be because of the fuel whichever is need to be filled into your aircraft that has been getting delayed. Okay, so this is a simple diagram for it, that sometimes passenger onboarding, whenever people would be boarding to your flight, they are making some delay. Because of that, your departure time would have got delayed, because aircraft is refueling, that take lot of time, and your departure has got delayed, and air traffic delay from the London airport. Then once this flight has been departed, so departure to arrival time, there can be again delay can happen. That delay may be because of the air traffic delay from the Rome airport. It can be because of rough weather, your flight time has been increased and your arrival time has changed. So arrival has been late by 30 minutes or 40 minutes or any time. Okay, so there can be these conditions are for the departing of your flight, and these conditions are for the arriving of your flight. So there can be multiple conditions because of which your flight may get delayed. So you need to work upon, you need to go to this website mentioned in this PPT, and there you will be get some data. You can, or you can take any of the aviation data from any airport terminals, and then you can assess that what was the departing time of the aircraft, where it has been arrived, and why, what are the possible combinations for getting that delayed, and then you need to prepare the Markov networks. Okay. Next point is about this page rank algorithm that we will cover in the next lecture. If you have any doubts, you can ask, or else we will end up the lecture. Shall we stop? Thank you everyone for joining this lecture. I hope you have actually attended it.